My name is Grace Resendez McCaffery. I live in District 5. 2 months ago, as we were celebrating one of the most profitable aerospace engineering groups in the world expanding its presence in Pensacola, that company, ST Engineering, was laying off workers. Workers that were recruited from Chile with promises of long-term jobs and even the possibility of green cards. We're here today to ask our elected representatives to help the community compel ST Engineering to do the right thing and pay these workers 3 months severance pay and ensure that it is paid immediately. The remaining 250 workers must get paid 2 months severance as well. Why do we want a facility that will create jobs that will be bad employers to our children and our grandchildren? We've provided materials for you to see that the company has been deceitful, grossly underpaying highly trained, educated employees locally, less than half the national average in their field, and have abandoned foreign nationals whose visas they sponsor here and in Mobile. These workers invested their entire lives and their families' lives to become members of our Gulf Coast community. One former employee tells me that he owes more than $180,000 in loans and credit card debt to cover the cost of him moving his family here and moving them back with no home to return to. When the layoffs began in June, I immediately organized the following assistance from the community, assistance that ST Engineering should have done at the very least. After presenting the issue to the City Council, the workers finally received their letters of termination and the layoff stopped. The letter was provided 30 days into their 60-day grace period after termination, for which they must leave the country. The remaining 250 workers were told they will be terminated at the end of their work anniversary. We provided emergency food with donations from the help of Marcus Point Baptist Church and individual cash donations. UWF and local Customs Border Protection Office helped correct vital visa issues with the employees' immigration documents.
Grace, that's your time.
We're also helping with job placement. Guys, we need your help. I'm providing you with information that is proof of what they sold to these people and what they've invested to be here.
All right, thank you.
John Herron, District 4. I'm here to speak about ST Engineering as well. I say to the people here that lost their jobs, I'm sorry. Our community doesn't treat people like this. We don't treat workers like this. ST Engineering received hundreds of millions of dollars of public funded money at the end of the day. They received it to build their infrastructure dedicated to them and only them. And they went down to Chile, recruited people, promised them jobs, promised them a pathway to a green card. They tell us it was temporary jobs. We see slides that say otherwise. They come here, they go to work, they accept the jobs, and then a year later they're fired, kicked to the curb, left in immigration limbo. They did this to about 40 people. Okay, the only thing these people have in common is their national origin. We're better than that. Here are two documents. I want you each to have a copy. One's the Bureau of Labor Statistics that shows these people are paying right now 25% below national averages. I've been in the industry for 40 years. I've never seen any work group in the aviation industry treated like this. And it's a real safety issue, because if they're going to do this with work rules with people, they're going to skip critical safety issues as well. And these are airplanes, very heavy airplanes, loaded with gas, flying over our homes. We should be concerned. Or do workers feel totally unable to bring up safety concerns that might increase the cost of the corporation? Probably not. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Next speaker is Diane Crummell.
Mr. Chairman, and we got to go hastily, but I will tell you, I have issues, quite frankly, because of the amount of public dollars that were put. And I'm very sympathetic to going over to Chile to getting people. But we set up funding for PSC, Washington High School. There are black and brown children in the urban core and inner city that are killing themselves that need opportunity. And I mean, to me, we have to make sure that we're inclusive. But unfortunately, black and brown children have been looked over for these jobs that they were intended for.
Diane.
ST Engineering is a giant global corporation, and we funded their infrastructure through public money. Rather than employ local workers, the company recruited workers from South America with promises of a green card and long-term employment. Many of these workers moved their families here. The national average for aerospace engineers is $36 an hour, yet this Corporation hires these people paying them only $28 an hour, and then they turn around and fire them without cause and without notice a year later. This is a blatant example of corporate greed and total disregard for the lives of these workers. We don't treat workers like that in America, whether they be Pensacola residents or immigrants. We must do better. And if we don't, this giant corporation could be equally ruthless in how it treats Pensacola workers. I am asking the commissioners to do first, get the ST Engineering managers involved in this and have them come down to a commissioner meeting and have them respond to your questions. And maybe you should be asking of whether or not immigration laws are being violated here. Second, there must be transparency about how they treat workers and how they pay them. After all, we are funding their infrastructure. Third, ST Engineering reluctantly agreed to only a 7-year commitment for jobs. Why? Because they were getting funding up to a tune of $100 million. And I know that the city's in for it for $10 million, so is the county. These 45 workers deserve, at a bare minimum, a 3-month severance pay. And ST needs to accommodate and help these other workers that are supposedly going to lose their job. You, the commissioners, need to demand accountability and more transparency going forward.